it's Nat Ferrier, women's leadership expert, creator of the She Lives the Life She Loves program and the Women in Wellness Leadership community. And I wanted to do a quick video for you today after I watched one of my favorite movies on the weekend and had this big flashback to a time when I had a very similar moment back in my performing arts days that I thought was just, there was such a great message in it that I wanted to share with you. So if you stick with me for a bit, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about me and the old days of when Natalie was on stage. And I'll link it to the way we interpret signs and whether we should go forward and floor it in doing what we're doing or whether we should back off in life, right? So the movie I was watching was Burlesque, actually, and it brought me back to this flashback of when I was on stage in playing a lead role in a musical. I think the lead role was Kim in Bye Bye Birdie. And there was this thing that happened one time that's very similar to a moment that happens in Burlesque where Christina Aguilera's character, Ali, is on stage and Nikki, who's one of the other characters who doesn't like her being there, cracks it and tries to go backstage and pull the leads from the sound guy and pull the whole PA so as everything gets shut down on Ali's performance, only for Ali to then bring her absolute cannon of a voice to the equation and the whole thing to end in a standing ovation, right? And then Nikki realizes she's totally underestimated this girl that she just tried to mess up. And I was sitting and I was thinking back to this time, minus the self-sabotage, when I was in this musical and I had this moment where I was on stage just about to start, well, just starting this solo, and all of a sudden the sound in this, we were in a stadium, it was this big stadium at our school, and we'd rehearsed in that space at least often. So I was used to actually having to project my voice to the back of this huge space, right? Without a microphone, and we only rehearsed with the microphones in the last little bit. So luckily when the sound died, like, I didn't freak out because I was already trained and we'd already trained that, you know, I could get my voice to the back of the room if I had to, if this ever happened, right? And we'd had this pre-training and rehearsal a lot of the time, where my drama teacher had always said, if anything like this ever happens, just go for it, right? Just floor it and keep going and everyone will follow your lead. So I had all these kind of ideas in my head, and then all this is like, think Gandalf in, you know, in Lord of the Rings when he falls into shadow and like an eternity passes in the second of a moment. Like, this is what happened in the split second of this moment on stage, right? There was like an eternity of thoughts went through my head, even though it was like this, that I was remembering all those things. And then I was literally remembering as well, you know, that I was connecting, I was feeling the audience at the same time. I was thinking all of that, and then I was kind of going, okay, so I've got a choice here. Either I can just stop, or I actually, no, I felt into the energy and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this like 10 times more than I would have given it before, and I'm going to give this audience like 10 times the value that they would have got before. I'm just going to freaking shine on this stage right now and tear it up and light it up, and then everyone else can follow my lead. And that's what I did in the end, right? Everyone else followed my lead. I kept singing through the whole thing. I projected to the back of the room as best as I could for the whole thing. There was no PA for the whole thing, and at the end of it, it ended with, you know, the audience just going nuts and doing the standing ovation because I just floored it despite the fact that there was no sound, right? So that was one of those very nerve-wracking moments where you then, you know, you go about finishing your bit, and then you go off stage, and then while the next bit is going on, you have this silent conversation with everyone backstage that looks a bit like, and then the other person's like, and you like have this whole silent conversation before you then attune to what's going on backstage and get on stage and get ready for your next bit, right? But so it was this hilarious day where that happened. And this is what got me thinking, right? Because in that moment, there was like, that could have been a human error thing. It wasn't a deliberate thing. It was like a human error thing that day. And I could have been there and I could have just like gone, you know what, this is really, maybe this is not working. Maybe the universe, maybe this is a sign that this is not meant to be. Is this a sign that this is not meant to be? But I just said, you know what? screw this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna love this song, I'm gonna do it better than before. And that's what I did, right? Because in that moment, I was like, nobody is taking this stage from me in this moment. I am meant to be here. I am meant to shine. This is my sole purpose. I'm going to do it. And I claimed that space, yeah? And sometimes in life, we just have to do it. Yes, sometimes there might be little signs that are like an absolute red light roadblock that, 10 things in a row start happening that you go, okay, so the car won't start, all this stuff is happening and maybe I'm not meant to do that. Sometimes there might be, a temporary delay. One time I had a car didn't start for 30 seconds because if I had have left 30 seconds earlier and gone down the driveway, I would have had a head-on with one of my housemates who was coming back the other way. So my car just didn't start for 30 seconds. It was a temporary delay because neither of us was aligned with that bad outcome, right? And then sometimes there's maybe the outside influences, like somebody yanked your leads on your PA. Rarely, again, you might be wanting to claim your space in that one. But then sometimes there's the self-sabotage one, right? That's the one where it's like, I put out that one post on Facebook and nobody liked it, therefore that must mean maybe I'm not meant to live my sole purpose and run that event. Sometimes we gotta not play that game, yeah? Sometimes we have to go, you know what? If every other sign in me has said that this is what I'm meant to be doing right now and this is my passion and this is what I'm really here to bring, then I'm gonna find a way, right? I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna put that out there. And even if it looks like 5 things aren't going my way today, let me tune in and see if, you know what, the show is gonna go on. I'm gonna floor it anyway and make this happen. Because sometimes to birth our babies and to birth our visions, that's what we've got to do, yeah? We do have to floor it and you do have to go through it, but you just got to feel into it, right? And feel into, okay, is there something that I need to be hearing here? Or is this the time that I'm just going to gun it and do it? So this is just what I wanted to share with you this week. And you know a little bit more about me too. If you have any comments or anything, feel free to post them below. If you've ever had a moment like this too, feel free to share. Or, how do you discern between some of your moments where it's like, what's this sign mean? What's really going on? How do you discern in those moments? So yeah, feel free to share. And that's it for me for today, lovely ones. I hope that you have a lovely week to come. And until next time, I'm Nat Ferrier. Have fun. Take care. Lots of love. Bye.